presentation about what their current work is. So of course there's been 16 years of fellows here, worth of fellows here, and residents and fellows here. So the idea that these people have a strong connection to the place, there are probably tons of people who can reconnect through an event like this who haven't seen each other in a long time. I think IBM as an institution is really interested in seeing what people that they might not have heard from in a few years are up to. So it's really kind of a chance for us to share with one another what our work is, and then also it's the potluck and the presentations are open to the public. So a really nice chance for a larger, kind of wider group of people to get to see what the women of IBM have been up to over the last many years. Well, I titled the event The Very First Year because I think it's interesting that it can sort of cut both ways. And one sense, it's like really fantastic to take the time to be excited that there is this kind of finally this moment where you feel like the gender balance is making a turn in a different kind of way here. But at the same time, 16 years was a really long time to wait for that to happen. So I think that's the kind of basis of the event is how do we think about that question in sort of a complicated way. So there's a whole series of events that take place. It's basically an event that happens all day. It starts at noon and it goes until 10 at night. And there's kind of two core parts of the day itself. So the first part of the day is really just me trying to think about other artists and people involved with culture who have been really invested in trying to use the word feminism in a contemporary sense. So kind of thinking about what does that term mean to us now. Of course it's meant different things throughout history, and there have been very different waves of feminism, as it's called. So I was really interested to notice that there were artists who were kind of claiming this term, again, contemporarily. And so I wanted to invite them to kind of come and explore things in the context of this event. So the first thing that happens is I've invited artists and a theorist who work together on a project about contemporary feminism, Liz Linden and Jen Kennedy. And they've run a project for the last several years called the New York Times Feminist Reading Group. And this is really interesting idea, I think. So they just basically ask you to come and show up and to analyze that day's copy of the New York Times from a feminist perspective. And they've done this in a number of venues before. And they describe that it always has a very interesting and engaged audience, and the conversation is different every time depending on who shows up, what's in the paper that day. But one thing that they did mention is very pervasive is they insist on